There is a war happening, but not the one you see on screens, not the one with flags and uniform, but the one behind the curtains, where inherited belief makes decisions, and fear is the currency, not in service of truth, but in service of preservation, of power, of position, of reward. Truth has no borders, but the mind creates them. Lines on maps, walls in thoughts, boundaries of us and them. Carved by fear, justified by belief, protected by control. And so begins the war of mine. My way, my land, my God, my truth. But truth does not belong to anyone. Truth is universal, like oxygen, same for all, no matter the name on the lips that breathes it. Like gravity, it holds kings and beggars just the same. Like sunlight, it shines on temples and deserts without preference. Like silence, it listens to every voice but speaks for none. Like space, it allows every form yet clings to none. It cannot be possessed, only covered by control, by power, by sacred text turned into weapons, by names given to what cannot be named. One side says we are under attack, the other replies we are defending ourselves. One group hides behind belief, a banner of religion, but beneath it, hunger for power, agendas masked as faith, and mind shaped to follow. They build a circle, call it sacred, but it's a cage where control wears the robes of devotion. And as they rise, so do their opposites, both fed by the same fire, both convinced they are right, both blind to the cost. And both sides cheer as bodies fall, not in palaces, but on the borderlines of belief. Innocent homes reduced to ash while the homes of power remain untouched. To remind the people, without us you are not safe, our way is the best way. But what if this fear is the only thing keeping the illusion alive? There are those who claim to protect and those who claim to resist, but what if both are feeding the same fire? What if hidden forces are stoking this flame, manipulating both sides for their own gain? Those who thrive on division, whether through power, profit, or self-serving ideologies, fuel the war, while others are left to die for the cause they did not choose. The lines are blurred, the enemy is never clear. It is easier to fight what is imagined than what is real. And so the bodies continue to fall, but the hands that light the fire remained unharmed, hiding behind walls built of fear, of belief, and the fractures they have created. Fear is manufactured, control is disguised as protection, and truth becomes whatever power permits to be heard. The media becomes a mirror, not of reality, but of what power wants reflected. And those who fight, they believe they are dying for a cause, for a country, for a belief. But they are dying for an illusion sold to them by those who never bleed. Everyone joins the war mentally, breathing the same air, standing on the same earth, eating the same food, under the same sun. Even their bodies move the same, but in the mind they are divided. In one home, a mother grieves a son. In another, a child waits for a father who will never return. But behind closed doors, no grief is felt. Only strategy, only numbers, only what comes next. If peace were truly wanted, the architects of conflicts, those who manipulate division, would face each other, not send others to die for cause they did not create. But peace does not sell. Peace is not confined to a religion. Peace does not conquer. Peace does not seek validation. Peace is not more for one than the other. Peace does not vote. Peace does not kneel. Fear does. And so the war must continue. Not because the enemy is real, but because the fear of the enemy must remain. Because if that fear ends, if the people stop believing, then the masks fall and power stands naked, empty, afraid. But once there was a war that did not rise from fear. It did not rise from the thirst for power, from the pull of control or the shadows of propaganda. Not to conquer, not to dominate, not to appear strong or make another appear weak, not for glory, not for gold, not for land, not to dress fire in headlines or flags or praise. It did not divide, it did not sell, it did not ask for clicks, it did not perform. It rose from a silence that could no longer stay silent, from a heart that refused to watch injustice pass as order. It rose for the one without a voice, for the child not yet born, for the elder unheard, for the dignity of all, not some. It rose for the unseen, for the truth that cannot kneel, for the oneness already here, beneath every skin, every name. This war was not to win. It was a stand to protect what can never belong to any one man. Freedom, equality, the right to live without fear. That stand was not made in secret. It walked into the fire fully seen. Courage rose not from division but from existence itself, in the form of Guru Gobind Singh. He did not hide behind speeches, he did not lead from comfort, he did not use fear to command. He rode to the front himself. He did not send pawns, he sent his own sons. He carried the weight, he stood for all, not one religion, not one rule, but for the freedom, to believe, to speak, to live. His sons were not just killed, they were buried alive behind walls. But nothing was lost because truth does not need anything. Everything already belongs to truth. Existence itself owns everything. He did not ask others to sacrifice. His own sons walked into fire, not to die, but to reveal that truth does not die. Even as walls closed in, existence did not flinch. What was buried was not lost, only returned to the formless it never left. There was no sorrow, no tragedy, only a stand so pure it made death irrelevant. Not for religion, not for land, but because what is whole moves when everything is broken. Before him, his father, Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji, had already revealed that truth cannot be owned and cannot be silenced. He did not give his life for a religion or for a name. He did not die for a group or to protect a belief. He gave his life so that truth, the freedom to live and express it, could be beyond boundaries, beyond the constraints of man-made divisions. He did not die for a group to rise, but for humanity to remain whole. For no belief should be forced, for truth can never be owned. It is free, it is for all. And before him, his father, Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji, saint and warrior. He wore both. He lived both, not to conquer, but to show that power without truth is violence, and truth without strength can be silenced. He passed on neither teaching nor belief, but presence, the undivided courage to protect what belongs to no one, freedom. And so when the time came, Guru Tegh Bahadur did not hesitate. He was not repeating history. He was the continuation of what cannot be broken. Guru Gobind Singh and those who stood not behind him, but as the same truth, did not act from identity nor defend from fear. They had seen what most never look at, the self behind the body, not a form but the force that moves all forms. They walked as truth itself, not as warriors, not as saviors, but as existence, unshaken by death. But the world, still trapped in eyes and names, saw them as men, and so it believed they were gone. But nothing was lost, because what lived through them was never there to begin with. It was not born, and it cannot die. existence never looks back. It moves like a river without doubt, without pause. Those who merge with it do not vanish. They flow as existence, transcending temporary form. But the mind divides, it plans, it protects, it rules. And everything it does is shaped by prior knowledge, recycled memory, borrowed meaning, second-hand truth. Yet for how long? No ruler has ever lasted, no lie has ever outrun truth. Those hiding behind closed doors, those who command from rooms of safety, do not stand where the bullets land. Without a doubt, will one day face what cannot be bribed, what cannot be silenced, what cannot be killed. Truth does not take a side. It simply stands as it is, ever present in all, transcending all personal identity. And in this presence there is no victory or defeat, only the unshakable force of being. Truth has no weapon, but it has never lost. It stands unshaken through every generation and watches as those who rise against it fall, one by one, age by age. It does not need to win. It already is. And it will remain until nothing false is left to fight it.